Okay, good morning, Kirsty. How are you? I'm just doing our weekly lag check, make sure that we're definitely live. And we should be on TikTok today, which is super interesting because we're not always allowed on TikTok. Okay, so I think we're live on Instagram.
I think we are.
I am just going to check.
Yeah, we're live on Instagram.
Okay, and then I'm just going to check TikTok because I think the way I'm able to view it, I don't think I can view it myself.
Shall I have a look?
You can have a look. I think I can do it better when it's on a desktop.
Yeah.
Right. But if I go into I've got it on the desktop. That's fine. We'll just take it from there. Okay. Right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the VA Live Lounge. And believe it or not, we're on episode 28, season 2. As we run up to Christmas, we'll only have a few sessions left, won't we? So if I just have a quick look at the calendar, I think 2 more weeks, and then we'll have a break for Christmas, and then we'll come back for season 3. But if you don't know what this is the VA Live Lounge. It's a weekly live. It's always live on Instagram. It's always live on YouTube, and it's sometimes live on TikTok. It depends. TikTok likes to play around with us. Today it is, so that's exciting. We come every week live, and then we repurpose this as a podcast episode. The episodes are supposed to be published every Friday at 10 a.m, but there's only me doing it, so it's a little bit behind. But you can see all the back episodes on morethanava.org/podcast. And you can also just search for the VA Live Lounge on your popular streaming channels. And we try to talk about things that are relevant to virtual assistants. But really, any small business owner can learn from what we chat about. And we talk about things in a real open and honest way. We don't prep for any of these podcast episodes.
We used to, didn't we? We used to be like, right, this is what we're going to talk about. And now we're like, we just wing it.
We just wing it now. That's it, because it's real life and that's how we want it to be. But we're here for you to answer any of your questions. So if you have any questions along the way, then please just pop them in the comments and we will answer them. And today we're going to be talking about raising your rates and what is stopping you, because raising prices for VAs seems to be a real contentious issue, like something that they're really, really frightened to do. Have you ever experienced this, Kirsty?
I've never raised my prices, ever.
But inflation, hello.
No, but it's that fear, isn't it? That if you raise your prices and people, if you think about shops, right? Mm-hmm. If you buy, I don't know, Brussels sprouts for 79p in Asda,
yeah,
they raise it to 129. You go, I'll pop round to the co-op you're doing for 85p on the way home. That is the way, isn't it? And it's the fear of if you raise your prices, people will go elsewhere.
I don't know. I don't think you can compare yourself to Brussels sprouts, to be honest with you. I mean,
I feel like that this morning.
Look, it's very different, isn't it? Will they taste different? From another shop, that's the thing. And then with you, it's not about your price. Once you deliver value and you build rapport and a relationship with somebody, it's that they don't want to lose. It's not about, I think it starts about the money for some people. And actually, I would argue that if you are working with a client and it's all about the money for them and how much they're paying, they're probably not the right client anyway, because what they should be paying for is the person, the experience, the expertise, the work that you do, how you show up. And what happens over time is you build a relationship and they kind of can't do without you. So it's that reason why they are going to stay with you, not because the Brussels sprout down the road is any cheaper.
Do you know what? You're right, because that's proof in the pudding. The conversation we've just had like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
That is proof in the pudding. But I think it's the fear that VAs worry about.
Yeah.
And that's why they don't, having not only raising your prices, but having that conversation. The email goes out, it's 2026 or whatever, raising my prices by even a £5 if you think people are on 10-hour plans or whatever. If you're also charging VAT, then that's that on top of that as well. And I think that's why a lot of VAs don't raise their prices. But you're right in terms of the value, with depending on how far you are in with that client's business. And as I say, we've just proved that. But it's just a fear, isn't it?
It is a real fear, and I get it. You're scared that people will go elsewhere and that kind of thing. But that's why it's really important to have that confidence mindset and believe in yourself and understand your own value. I mean, how was it? If you think, you might think it hasn't impacted you by not raising your prices. In how long, by the way? How long has it been?
This is 4 years.
But have you noticed that the cost of living is more, shopping's more,
Oh yeah,
your bills are more, but your money hasn't gone up? So it must have had an impact somewhere along the line.
oh, how horrendous impact.
So you do notice it then?
I do, but I'd never really think about it. I just sort of try and rebudget, I think, rather than think, oh, I need to raise my prices or whatever. It's not, unless you think about it in more depth like that. Then
that's crazy that you would restructure your budget and spend less rather than easily earn more, because
I don't spend less. I still spend the same.
But people expect to have their prices raised. Like every year, April time, I'm going to get a letter from like EE or the gas company or whatever telling me, prices going up. We expect it. That's why national minimum wage goes up. That's why we have that opportunity to put our prices up. But today, actually, I want to talk about not having to wait until like April time. I think the new year is a really good time, and hopefully by the end of this call, you will be putting up your prices. And I'll be honest, I don't review my prices and put them up every year either. However, I have put prices up, and that was because I realised that we were just charging way too little, probably the second year in. And the problem is, in order to meet where the reality of inflation was and the cost of living was, I had to raise the prices really high in comparison to if I'd just done it in tiny little increments. So if you raised your prices by like £2, so £2 a year, but if you don't do that, not £2 per year, sorry, £2 per hour or whatever, if you don't do that, then all of a sudden that hike is massive.
Yeah.
When it finally catches up with you, you got to tell the client that you're suddenly raising it by £5 an hour or £10 an hour. That's when you're going to lose people. I mean, last year, I get my nails done and the salon raised the prices by £2. So did the hairdressers raise the prices by £2. You don't miss £2. You don't think about it. So I do think incrementally raising your prices by a couple of pounds per hour, or if you've got like a package, you'd add like £5 or a tenner or something onto it. It's a lot better doing that in one go than 4 years later, in your case, you haven't done anything and you're suddenly having to put a massive, slap a massive increase on top. Have you never thought about it that way?
No, I've never ever thought about raising my, I guess it depends where you are, doesn't it? Like if you're just starting out and you've got like 1 or 2 or 3 clients, and then the following year to that, you're like, right, I'm putting my prices up. I think that's the worry, isn't it? It's the fear of going, nah, we're not working with you anymore. So it's never really come across to me to raise my prices.
Okay, but we're going to change that today, Kirsty.
We are.
So we've got somebody on TikTok, Ken, who says he's trying to set up, it's a picture of a woman, as a VA, but I have no idea how to price yourself. I just literally put a post out about this, right? Somebody prompted me in a live I did on TikTok this week, and they said, do I need a certificate as a VA? And it really sparked a chain of thoughts in my brain, because no, you don't. And that also, VAs are pricing themselves based on how long they've been in business, which is not how you should be pricing yourself. You should be pricing yourself on your knowledge and expertise and experience, because that's what you're bringing to the table. Let's imagine you are you're an expert, you're going into a corporate position and your skill set is in, change management or something like that. And you've been used to being on a 70 grand salary per year, every year, and you are being headhunted. You wouldn't start in a new company on a lower rate because you're new. You know what I mean? You'd be negotiating your rate or above. So you should be charging based on you price yourself based on your experience, your value, what you're going to bring to the table, not on the fact that you've only just started as a VA. That doesn't matter, because your experience is still what you are giving to someone. It does depend on what services you can offer. So if you're only able to offer like basic admin services, I would say probably around £35 to £40 an hour. I know some people might charge less than that, but I just wouldn't. I wouldn't go any lower than 35, especially as what we're talking about is raising your prices. But if you have experience with marketing and tech and that kind of thing, you should be charging 45 to 60 pounds an hour for sure. So that's how you should be pricing yourself. I would say if you put your services into packages of time, so 5, 10, 15, 20 hours, it makes it easier to charge up front. So a lot of VAs make the mistake of not charging up front because they price themselves per hour and then don't kind of protect that by putting it into a bundle. And so they say, yeah, we'll see how many hours you did at the end of the month and then we will bill you. Don't do that, for heaven's sake. No, put that into blocks of time. You tell the client how much time you think they'll need. It can always be, negotiated and say, look, I think this month, but we'll see how we get along. And then they have to pay up front, and that's what you do. So I hope that helps you. But we've got loads of past episodes about pricing, so go back and watch those. You can join our More Than a VA free community. I think I've just put a pricing guide into the free resources that you get in there as well. The link's in the bio for that. I'm just going to check anybody's asked on Instagram. Nobody at the moment. So talking about, the fact that it's had an impact on you because the cost of living's gone up, but your money hasn't. And I suppose it's thinking about the mindset blocks that come up when we first think about raising our prices. So it is rejection, fear of rejection.
Yeah.
What if the client leaves? For some VAs, they just feel grateful to have the work and they don't want to rock the boat. Too many VAs compare to other VAs who charge less, which just devalues yourself. It might be through lack of confidence or your clarity on your value. And you might think that you need to earn the right to charge more. But I would say all of these points are valid. But what doesn't change is the fact that prices go up every year and yours should too.
I think the problem is that we don't actually think about that last part of it. It's that you don't want to have the confrontation. Like I say, you don't want to send the email, and then it's a fear, isn't it? If you've got to send an awkward email to a client about something, you sort of draft it, send it, and you think, I'm not going to check because I'm scared of what they're going to say or whatever. So I think I think mainly for all VAs or all small business owners, it is just the fear of that, having that conversation with somebody.
Yeah, but that's
always having to prove yourself, like that. You're worth that £2 an hour increase.
Yeah, but I think the fact that they're with you and they value you and they've not moved on, what you've got to remember about being a VA is you become really valuable to somebody. And I would say for any business owner, any freelancer, if you can make yourself so valuable that that person will not want to let you go, that's like the perfect marketing strategy. I actually started watching Netflix documentary last night about I think it was the downfall of P. Diddy. And it was really interesting because and by the way, hate the man, but this isn't talking him up or anything like that, but he got started in I think it was Bad Boys record label, just really as doing odd jobs like admin, running around getting stuff from shops and things like that, because he really wanted to be in that industry and build himself up, and there were really big rappers in there at the time. But the guy who owned the company, he couldn't do without him, because he'd say, go down the street and get me so-and-so, which would normally take 10 minutes. He could do it in 2 because he would run there and back. And then he just became this person that they couldn't lose because he became so valuable. So if you can become so valuable to your clients that they trust you, that you're doing everything for them, they cannot do without you, they're not going to care that you raise your prices. And even if they do care, they're still going to stay with you, because the hassle of trying to change, to find someone else, to teach them the processes, to give them all the logins, that's what you've got to remember. You've kind of locked that person in at that point.
Yeah, you're right. But I think, again, it's like it's just that conversation, isn't it? Like, if somebody came back to you and said, well, I'm going to switch, and, would you advise VAs to go, well, that's absolutely fine if you want to switch to a different VA, or, look at the hassle it will cause? Would you advise them in that way and say, look, if you want to switch them, but don't forget, you're going to have a complete restart, or do a minimal handover? Is that something you would advise us to do?
So I actually do it in a real, how can I put it? Like a veiled way. So somebody did this. So a client said to me, it wasn't because I put my prices up. They were going to leave because of X, Y, Z. But I knew that they could not do the tech side of things like I do. So they weren't going to be able to keep on top of all those automations. They didn't understand the processes that I built because they just weren't listening to me. And so what I said was, yeah, absolutely no problem at all. Do you want to have a 1 hour call to go through the handover of all the automations and all the tech side of things, knowing that they would balk at that? And that's exactly what they did. They went, oh my God, no, I don't want to do that. Let's stay. And they increased their time. So, I think the thing is, what I would be saying is, if a client says to you, look, I don't think I can afford this, I'm going to have to move on, you would say, absolutely understand, no problem at all. Let me know when you find somebody else, and I'll be there to help you with the handover, just to give you a brief insight on the kind of things that we're going to need to hand over, and then create this really lengthy document that shows them just what you do, because we've had this conversation before. A lot of clients forget what you actually do for them, especially if you're so good at it. You just do it day in, day out. They don't even notice. That's the perfect opportunity to put it in front of them in black and white. They're going to look at that and go, shit, am I going to have the time to train someone else how to do this?
Yeah.
Then they're going to think, oh, and then I'll have to pay you and them at the same time for a while. So that's where, remember, people buy differently now to they did years ago. So whilst you're thinking about pricing, they do buy because of emotion. So they do buy because of convenience and things like that. Like Amazon, it can sometimes cost a couple of pounds more to buy an item you could buy elsewhere, but you buy it there because you're going to get it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's, it's just that thing, isn't it? It's just that worry that you have that. But yeah, that's good advice though.
Yeah.
To be able to handle that conversation.
So let's talk about January then. Okay, you can raise your prices in April, but it's not too late to start letting clients now know that at the end of January, you're going to be raising your prices. And the reason it's a good time, one of the reasons is it's like a clean slate. A lot of people feel like January is like, okay, fresh start, everything's new. So it's a great time for them, whilst they're planning their year out, they're looking at their finances, to adjust their budget accordingly. So if you can let your clients know now, like, just so you know, and blame the budget. The budget recently, the cost of living, I haven't increased my prices in 4 years. I am going to have to increase them at the end of January. I'm giving you as much notice as possible, but the value will still be there. You give them all of that, and I think you've got to remember, a lot of clients will sit there and go, oh, I'm glad you've told me now, because I was about to be working on my goals and my strategy and my finances. They'll be grateful that you told them now.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's all about the more advanced notice you give them, the better. So they can, everyone self-employed is doing their tax returns at the end of January. So, there's that, they're all looking at that kind of thing. So yeah, you're right. It's good advice to do it well in advance.
Even if you say to them, and over those last 4 years, my experience and my knowledge and my expertise in this area has increased, and my current prices don't reflect that.
Yeah,
because that was the you 4 years ago. The you now, the you now is social media and there's some stuff. You couldn't do that 4 years ago. So you're underpricing yourself for your current expertise. That's madness, isn't it?
It is.
So you'd be saying things like, the budget, the cost of living, and the fact that your knowledge, your experience, your expertise has all increased, and your prices need to reflect that. Any good person, any good business owner will completely understand, and they'll probably be doing the same.
Do you know, I was literally just going to say, they're probably doing the same thing with their clients, but then also, as human beings, they might feel like, I can't have that confrontational conversation with my VA because I don't want to lose them, I don't want to piss them off, I don't want to have that, okay, it's just £2 an hour, 5 or 10 hour packages or whatever it is. So it's on the flip side, isn't it? Again, you don't think about that part. They'd be thinking, God, I got, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to be able to pay this.
Yeah, 100%. If anybody's listening, is there any reason you wouldn't raise your prices in January? Do you have any thoughts around that? Kirsty, any reason now, as we're talking about this, you feel like January isn't a good time?
No.
Kirsty's already drafting the letter.
I feel like when we do this on a Friday, it's like, a mentoring thing. And I come off and I go, what am I doing?
I should be charging you this. I charge VAs a power hour. You should just be paying me a power hour to do this podcast. Kirsty's always learning something new. But I learn. Look, I made mistakes. My first business I started in 2004 to 2014, and I didn't always raise my prices on time. So I'd probably raise them every couple of years instead of every year. But I did raise them. I did raise my prices, and nobody questioned it at all. Do you know what you got to think about? Right. So my husband brought a record. He's into vinyl records. He brought this vinyl record from, I think it was the 60s the other day, and the price was on it. It might have been the 80s. Yeah, I think it was the 80s. The price was on it from back then, and it was from Woolworths, and it had been reduced from £1.99 to 99 pence. Right. I mean, I think the record costs more now, right? And it was secondhand. There's a record shop next door to us, and they cost like £45, right? Mm-hmm. That's inflation. That's how much prices have increased. Kirsty, if you don't move forward, you're going to be charging the equivalent of a penny.
I think how busy I'll be.
Busy and broke, love. Busy and broke. So Ken said some people's finances go January to January and some April to April. So January is a good time. Super glad that you agree with that. So tying in the budget. The budget's a real thing. I think the UK in particular at the moment is flipping stretched. It's really stretched. Small businesses are stretched, and the cost of living hasn't dropped. Inflation is still biting. I had this conversation with my husband yesterday. I used to be able to go and do a weekly shop. I am a budget person, and I don't just go in there without a shopping list. I have a proper shopping list so I can keep the budget. But I could do a weekly shop for £60 for a family of 4. Okay, my 2 boys are now teenagers and they constantly eating everything, so I've had to raise it a little bit. But I cannot get that bill below £100 now a week, and it's so expensive. Everything's just gone up so much. I can't understand how we can not raise our prices. My business has just pivoted. So our VA agency is pivoting into online business management, and actually it's going in a more strategic route. And I don't even have to say, to our current clients, we haven't yet raised the prices, but anyone new, it's gone up by £5 an hour. That's it. I'm not even negotiating that. In fact, my personal rate has gone up to £85 per hour.
Wow.
That's from 45. Just double. And that's because I'm going, you know what? If I keep on being small fry, I'm going to get small fry customers. Yeah. So I need to be charging up here if I want to get that kind of clientele through the door.
But the thing of it is, though, that what you're doing now and even previously, you should be charging the hourly rate. And when you've had conversations with people about, what we're doing, pivoting forward, they've not batted an eyelid about it. They've not gone,
yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Well, one of the things we're offering now is we do a strategic blueprint, and it is intensive. It's really, really intensive. It's a proper deep dive into someone's business. We spend about 2 hours on an initial call, a follow-up 1 hour call, and a whole day spent on researching their business and giving them a 3 to 5 year plan, an initial 90-day action plan, and all the things that they need to do in their business, the gaps and all that kind of thing. We do really intensive stuff on it. And I was charging £500, including VAT. And then when I started to break the numbers down, it was stupid. It was probably less than £40 an hour. So I immediately raised that to £750, including VAT. Had a call with a client, they paid it the same day. So that's £750 in a day, Do one of them every day, I'll be laughing.
You'll be retiring by the time you're 50, love.
Tell me about it. And that's not far away. So I think, this is what you've got to be thinking about, or what you're worth. I've just got to a point where I'm like, no, I'm worth way more than this. And this is what I'm charging. And the only people who are going to pay it are the people that can afford to. And that's fine by me, because I need those kind of people now. Yeah. So I suppose there's that element as well of thinking about, well, who do you want to work with? What kind of clients do you want to attract? And if you're charging really low, you're probably going to get really shitty clients sometimes, the ones who you know, the ones who think that you're going to be on demand, they're at their beck and call, they're only paying you for 5 hours, but they want you for 24/7.
Yeah.
You do, I think your prices do reflect the kind of clients you attract. What do you think about that?
I think you're right. And I think we have had times where we have had clients like that, haven't we? That they, you know, and we have had clients who have been, you know, have had calls and stuff with them and they've tried to haggle on the price.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that, you know, never, ever do, even just for 1 or 2 clients. You should never, ever haggle on the price because you're devaluing yourself.
Yeah, instantly.
You can offer them, and they'll realise that. And then when you do need to raise your prices, you won't be able to because you'll just be raising them to what you should be already charging.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, didn't we have a call with an accountancy firm, and they needed quite a lot of support, didn't they, coming in, and they wanted us to negotiate on the price. In fact, I was delivering one of my blueprints this week to a client, and I noticed that they were uncomfortable talking about money, and this is a really high value client. They can charge a lot of money. And she admitted that she does struggle with that, and she's negotiated the prices down. And my question to her was, what changed for you though? I mean, you've negotiated your prices down. Did your hours change? Did your knowledge go down? Did your value decrease? Yeah. Like what did you take off that quote to reflect that? Nothing. You're still giving them the same expertise, the same time, the same effort. It's ridiculous. I would just say, no, this is the price. And people are chancers. Most people who are asking you to negotiate prices, they're just trying it. They're going to buy the thing anyway.
Well, that's right. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone to the bother of booking a call with you and, you know, taking time out of their busy day. I mean, you know, if I compare it to like Tesco's again, you wouldn't go to Tesco's and say your shop comes to £101.72. You go, I'll give you 85 quid. And then you go, piss off.
Yeah, I'll buy my Brussels sprouts somewhere else.
I don't even like Brussels sprouts.
So, and the other thing with the budget is there's been no major new relief for sole traders or micro businesses. So, you know, and I think things can only get worse. And in some ways, you have to prepare for that. You've got to plan ahead. Like, one of the things we do in our strategic blueprints is we do a pestle analysis, and this looks at the environmental factors. It looks at things like technology. What's going to happen in the next few years that can really impact your business? And one of those is things like changes in government, tax implications, all of those things that you have to kind of plan for. And I like to think that I make all my mistakes for other VAs so they don't have to make them. And this year, I knew VAT registration was coming. I was aware of it last year. I knew it was going to come, and I could have prepared for it. I could have just increased my prices slowly and then, you know, built the VAT in, but I didn't. I did it super last minute. I probably pissed loads of clients off because I didn't tell them till like days before that the prices were going up, and that was the wrong thing to do. So I do think having a proper look at the future projection of your business, do a pestle analysis. If you've never heard of it, look it up, do that on your business and see what the possibility is. You know, the impacts that are coming your way as a VA. I think one of the things that's about to come in is the right to work. So the right to work, you know, where you have to do all the checks and everything, if you're an employee, is going to start being spread out to subcontractors, freelancers. Now, we're lucky, we've been doing that anyway for a long time. But that's all going to come in. That's extra admin, extra time, extra cost. So if you're a VA agency and you've got like your own assistant or somebody you're paying to do those kind of, you know, checks and balances, you've got to factor these things in. This is another thing that's going to, cost you money. So it is about thinking about the future in that way as well, and what it's going to cost you.
I'd be interested to know though why you left it to the the few days before, like, because you were obviously conscious of it and you'd obviously thought, you know, now in hindsight, I should have raised my prices. What was the reason you left it to that?
I think it was fear. I think it was just fear. The same. Look, I absolutely knew in my heart that a lot of our clients would not be able to afford 20% increase. I knew, and I kind of felt like, I suppose subconsciously, if they're going to leave, let's make sure I drain as much out of them as I can before they go, in not a nasty way, but like if I tell them, you know, 4 months before, 3 months before, they're going to leave, but I haven't put the prices up yet, So I might as well wait until the death. I didn't really think about it. I think I had a lot going on at the time.
Yeah.
It was super quick as well. Like my accountant, although they kind of warned me, I'm not very good at that side of things, like looking at our zero account. I'm not good at that. And so they literally said, you've just hit the VAT threshold. And it was late. So we had to I should have already filed. So that was kind of why it was so late as well. But I do wish my accountant had advised me to register for VAT before I needed to. And I was just too scared to do that. But if I'd have sat and properly strategically planned it, that would have been a better thing to do. And I can't put the VAT into the prices because the profit margins are too low.
See, that's good advice, isn't it? Because if you are about to become VAT registered or close to that point, it is a good idea to start putting your prices up now, because we did lose quite a lot because, particularly on the higher hourly package customers, clients, it was a big jump, wasn't it? And we did have people say we just can't stretch it.
Yeah, we lost literally half the clients overnight. It had a major impact on the business. I ended up with a big cash flow issue. And so, this is why it's important, not just for if you're hurtling towards VAT registration like me, but even if you're looking at things like you and thinking, well, the cost of living is more, and at some point those two things are going to collide, the low prices you're charging versus the cost of living, and you're just going to break. And then you're going to knee jerk and suddenly get pissed off and say, I've got to raise prices, and you'll end up in the same position.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Ken has asked, sorry if this is off topic, how do you find best to market your VA services? We always say it's best to niche first. So if you know your niche, who you want to serve, so the kind of industry you want to be in, the best thing to do is write down on a piece of paper what your qualifications are, what you're good at, what you love, what you're passionate about, what lights you up, who you like working with, and then kind of think about, okay, where can I find clients like that? What would they be doing? You might be a VA that specialises in the aesthetics industry or the healthcare industry. Healthcare is really big right now, by the way. And if that's the case, it's easier for you to market yourself, because then you're going to go, okay, let's say, for example, aesthetics, where are they likely to be? They're likely to be on Instagram. If you said something like healthcare, they're likely to be on LinkedIn. So it's then saying, okay, well, this is who I want to work with. This is where I'm going to find them. And now this is how I'm going to market myself. So you have to really define that niche first. But as I say, please listen to the past episodes of the podcast, morethanava.org/podcast. Go to the link in the bio. There's loads in there that talks about this, how to niche yourself. I am actually running a workshop, 30th of January, how to get clients. It's a 3-hour intensive workshop. Again, the link is in the bio for that. What's the best in-demand automation tool to learn as a VA? I would say if you can learn any form of automation in CRM systems, that's going to be the best thing. In particularly Go High Level, because there's loads of variations of Go High Level. So if you could become an expert in that, that's great. But actually what you should become an expert in is AI. That's where the demand's going to be. And we just did an episode, I think it's just been published, about this, about how you could really niche into AI by understanding how to build out voice agents, all the different things in AI that people might play with but don't know how to properly set it up and work it. So if you can really just go away for a week and learn a particular area of AI that you can get really good at, you could just hone your skills in that area. That's the best thing that you can do. Thank you. I really appreciate you answering. No problem at all. Anybody else got any questions, please feel free to drop those in the comments. And we're talking about raising your prices and what stops you doing that, and all of the mindset battles that you might have. I think the other thing you've got to remember is your costs, or your software, your utilities, your business insurance, your AI tools, they've all gone up. They haven't gone down. Nothing's going down.
It's quite interesting, actually, because when I first started out, I didn't have anything like that, really. I had like the free ChatGPT and all that. But as I've kind of evolved into doing like social media and like other, more intense stuff, I've had to pay out for that stuff. But again, you don't think about that like you do, because obviously as an agency, you kind of budget in all of the pricing. But as a solo VA, you would never think, well, it's 20 quid for ChatGPT 5. It's, what else am I paying for? My Microsoft $8.49 a month. All of those prices aren't reflected in my hourly rate.
Yeah. And if you're then processing through like Stripe, that takes a fee as well. If you've got a business account, some of those charge. So there's loads of little hidden costs. I would tell you to go away, work out your overheads, and then kind of divide that by the clients you've got, and you'll see how much it costs you per head, how much it's costing you per head. For example, we work this out based on a certain amount of clients. I probably need to redo the figures, but for every client that we have versus the associate that works with them, it costs nearly £9 to acquire that client. So when you think about it, some people will say something like, oh, well, you pay your VA £25 an hour, but you charge 45. There's like this £9 cost in there straight away that you have to take off, as well as all of the other overheads that you've got. So you do really need to get clear on that, because it's not a round figure. Oh, I'm charging £40 an hour, that's what I earn. No, you don't.
Yeah,
Not what you earn. Absolutely. And you might run the numbers and end up with £11 an hour. Would you go out and work for that?
No.
So you need to do that exercise, Kirsty. 100%. And you're not a hobbyist. This isn't a bloody hobby.
No,
it's a business. So treat it like a business. I bang on about this all the time. In fact, I did a post yesterday about this very issue with the lack of confidence with VAs who don't treat their business like an actual business. It's an actual bloody business. You are the CEO of it. You can do anything you want.
I don't even have that on my signature.
Don't you?
No.
I think, yeah, one of the things, look, you need to put on your signature, CEO, because that's what you are, and tell yourself that every day. You totally are that person. And you don't need permission from anybody to do anything. You can raise your prices. The government, they're not really supporting us right now. So you've got to think, how can I support myself? They're not going to be there on a horse with a white flag helping. So you've got to think, like you've just said, AI tools. Would you have predicted, a few years ago, you'd need to be paying for ChatGPT? No, you wouldn't.
No.
But you are going to have to. So it is really getting clear on where is the future of technology going? What niche am I in? What costs will I need to serve my clients well in this area? So I would say really think about that.
Yeah, no, you're right. And but again, without those tools, I couldn't do what I'm doing for my clients. So again, it's something you don't think about.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't think about it, but you've got to think about that. So hopefully today will help people think. So I suppose the other issue is how you communicate your rate increase to clients. Is that something that keeps you up at night?
It never even enters my mind. I don't dare let it.
now that you're thinking about it, though.
Yeah, I think it just has to be you could have a face-to-face conversation, but I don't think a lot of people would feel confident about that. Yeah. But I think, strategize, putting an email together, whether that's through ChatGPT or whatever, and just communicating that. And I think it's a good idea to make it clear to your clients that that's across the board, because when you're sending them an email, obviously you're BCC because of, GDPR or whatever. And so I think it's good to communicate that that it is across the board. It's not just, and actually some clients might go, well, actually, why are you increasing it? For what reason? You may be able to give them a breakdown of, I pay for ChatGPT £20 a month, I pay for Microsoft $8.49, whatever. So you can just give them maybe a breakdown of why you're increasing your prices if they do come back and question it.
Well, I think if you write a really good letter from the start, you wouldn't need to do that. I think giving notice is important. 30 days is more than reasonable. So everybody listening, you've got time right now to say it's going to be in January. It's about being clear and confident. So don't over apologize. Do not in that email say, I'm so sorry this is happening. No, it's happening. It's got to happen. You're confident about the fact that it's happening. And then, like I said earlier, it's framing it as a reflection of value, not punishment. You are valuable, and your price needs to reflect that. And especially in your case, Kirsty, you can say you haven't raised your prices in 4 years, so people are going to totally understand it. But I would say this is why you should always raise your prices every year in a small increment, because that could really piss people off that you have made the decision to wait 4 years and now you're going to raise your prices. Yeah. So I think that you're actually doing your clients a favour by consistently raising your prices. And then you can think about offer options. So you could say, you could upgrade your package at this time, or we could move you to a retainer option. I suppose if you're really nervous, you could give them options to change their packages if the budget now doesn't suit any longer. But I wouldn't be too worried about that.
Yeah.
And then I think you use this opportunity to realign your services with the client's needs. So you could have a conversation, you could invite them to a conversation about maybe this is a good time to review the current package you're on. And I would say something like, dear so-and-so, as of this date, my rates will be increasing. This reflects the rising cost of doing business and the level of support I offer. Make sure you're putting your support in there and your value. I'd love to continue working together. I'm happy to discuss the best way to move forward. That's it. Keep it short, sweet, simple. You don't have to give loads of reasons why you're doing it. You can mention the cost of, the cost of obviously gone up, inflation's increased, your prices haven't increased in a few years, but your experience, your value, the level of support you offer, it needs to be in line with the rates of the market. So just a short letter, a short email, giving notice. That email should just be an informative email. By the way, I'm raising my prices on this day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think you're right. I think keeping it simple, because I think sometimes when you're sending an email like that, you can naturally just waffle, can't you? Oh, it's because of the government and cost of living, and Brussels sprouts has risen by £1, and and I'm really sorry, kind of thing. But you shouldn't be sorry, because they're paying for your value. So
absolutely,
just keep it really short and really simple, and don't apologise and don't waffle, because I'd be going, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I can't believe it's happened.
If you show people that weakness, or I'm sorry, they're gonna jump all over that.
Yeah.
So I don't think you should. I think what you've got to remember is, because VAs don't think about profit enough, you need to price for profit, not just sustainability, not just, I need to afford to live. You also want to make a profit. Especially if one day you want to sell your business. You'll never do that if it's not profitable.
I don't think I'd even make a profit.
You're probably in debt.
Probably.
And remember, charging more allows you to work less, right? So you can invest in better tools or automation, you support your quality of life. In fact, on the 15th of December, great time, I'm running our challenge. We do this a few times a year, Earn More, Work Less, the VA challenge. And we talk about this. So how to increase your prices, how to diversify your offer. I don't know if I've put the link in the bio yet, but send me a DM if you're listening and I'll give you the link. I will be dropping that link on Monday. It's anyone can join. It's completely free. It's a 4-day challenge. The 5th day we wrap up, 20 minutes a day. That's all it is. And we're going to go through your dream schedule, your income gap, diversifying your offer, and a brand new one is defining your niche, but the secret niche you might not have thought of. So it's well worth joining there. And the right clients expect you to raise your rates over time. Didn't you say that a client just told you that you're too cheap?
I don't think it was too cheap. Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, yesterday. So because when we first started working together, we was just like basic admin, emails, and I've sort of said, well, I can actually do this and I can do that. And now I've kind of transferred. So he was doing like all of his estimates and all of his invoices were going out from a platform, Free Agent, which is fine. I'm not saying you can't use that, but to bring him into where we are in 2025, he needed to have uniformed invoices, uniformed estimates. He had no processes in place or anything like that. So I've kind of rejigged everything for him. So now everything's uniformed. We're doing marketing, we're doing social media posts, and they're all the same template. So it keeps it uniform for him. And I've just secured him with an estate agent who's got a load of flats that they need decorating, which will cover him throughout the winter until the better weather comes to work outside. And he was like, "You're amazing. I don't pay you enough." And I'm like,
wow. Now, listen, I'm annoyed with you now, right? Because one of the things that we do in our agency is we have deliberately split our packages out because of this very reason. Yeah. So we have Simply Admin, and then we have, I'm just going to make it easy for this example, Simply Admin and then Admin Plus Marketing. The reason Admin Plus Marketing costs more is because there's a lot more work that has to go into that and a lot more expertise. And it protects the Simply Admin people who don't have that expertise. So what you don't get is a scope creep. You don't get a client that tags on one of our admin VAs and then says, I want to move away from emails and now I want to do social media. That VA can say, sorry, you'll have to go back to me and you'll have to pay more for that. and go to a new VA, or you can work with me because I can do that, but you've got to pay more, because that level of work should be reflected in the price. Now you know that, and you've accidentally got yourself in a position where you've gone from simply admin to marketing at the same rate. You should have said, I can do your marketing.
You know what? I never even entered. It never. Do you know what? Do you know what's so annoying about that? Is A, it never entered my head. I just went, yeah, I can do that. And B, I tell all the VAs all the time, don't ever do anything that's not within that package. That's what I tell them all the time, and I've just done it myself.
But you've just done it. Did you not even think about it? Now, how many VAs does this happen to, though, where a client will initially come to you for this thing, and then all of a sudden it's all these, you're a web developer now, you're a marketer, and your price should reflect that. I would say to any VA, whether you're solo or an agency, have from the off different prices for different levels, or different packages for different levels. And if that client wants this tech package or this marketing package, they have to pay more. And that's why we did what we did, so we could protect VAs and we could protect ourselves, and clients couldn't get away with that, because so many clients do that, and so many VAs feel like they have to say yes for the very reason we're talking about today, the fear of rejection, the fear of them going elsewhere.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, Kirsty. So I wonder if there's people listening, if they've ever raised their rates and had no pushback, nobody said anything, but they were initially afraid to do it. If you have, then drop that in the comments. It'd be really interesting to know if you've experienced that. I mean, I'm definitely going to be raising our prices. I might as well, I don't know actually, because I have already raised it by like 20%. I know it's VAT, but I think I might be pushing it if I do it again. The small amount of clients we've got left. I think I'll have to leave it for another year with these ones. The new ones coming on board are paying a lot more.
Yeah.
And then I would just say what you should do is make your rate reviews an annual business habit. So every year, set a date where you look at your rates. You look at the budget. I mean, it's a really good time is when the budget's just happened in the UK. But look at what's changed, what's coming, the potential impacts, and think about raising your rates either in January or April. I do think January is a good time though, just as good as April. And then use January to audit your services. So what takes longer, what delivers more value, and kind of change your packages. And what you can do is, ahead of raising your rates, you can say to your customers, I'm just letting you know that the packages are changing slightly. This is what we're going to be doing going forward. In your case, it might be that you don't raise your rates, you change your packages to admin, marketing, and then you say to clients, I mean, I know you can't do this with Mark because, actually, that's really naughty because Mark is our client through our business. And you are getting the sack, and he should definitely have moved up. So you're doing me out of money. Oh my God, Kirsty, this is totally out of order. It's a good job I love you. But I think we do have to have a conversation with Mark then.
Yeah.
We've got to, because Mark can't stay on that package for that level of work. No way. But what I was saying was, if you're a solo VA and you are finding that this has happened to you, it's a really good time to say, just letting you know, the level of work involved with marketing or websites or tech or whatever is a lot more. There's a lot more expertise that has to go into that. There's a lot more time and value. Therefore, my packages will be changing from January to reflect that. If you only have admin services, it's going to cost you, £30 an hour. If you have marketing or tech services, it's going to cost you £45 per hour. And we're going to be doing that in the time bundles that we're already offering you, 5 hours, 10, 15, 20. And instead of raising your prices, you could do that, or you could still do both. You can still do both and say, look, you're going to be having to move on to this package.
Yeah.
And if they don't like it, they can go somewhere else and see if they can pay a web developer or a social media expert to charge what you're charging. There's no way.
No, there isn't. And again, it's that fear, isn't it, of having that conversation of can that client afford it? It's just the fear, isn't it, of having that awkward conversation with them, I suppose. And I think as well, I'm very much a people pleaser, and I don't even know why that didn't enter my head. I generally don't. And when I think about it now, I'm like, dickhead.
Look, I think, yeah, we'll have a separate conversation to this because it's definitely going to have to go up. And maybe you're telling me you've been told off.
Yeah.
The other thing is you could add new packages so to reflect the value jump. So not just increase your hourly rate, but say, hey, we've got these new packages, and I think, and they cost a little bit more, but I think that, you know, you would really benefit from them. So that is another thing. I think my closing message on this would be not to wait for permission. If your costs have gone up, your skills have grown, or your business has evolved, your prices should reflect that. And January is the cleanest, calmest time to do it. And in the current climate, you can't afford not to do it.
I wouldn't wait till late. I wouldn't wait till late because I think quarter one is gone then. So I think January is definitely the best time to do it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Kirsty's about to come off the call, draft her email, and that's going to go out to let them know they've got more than 30 days notice because she's sending it today or Monday, and she's going to raise her prices on January the 30th, aren't you, Kirsty?
I absolutely am.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. Really appreciate that, and hopefully it's been really helpful. We try to get on to TikTok every Friday, but TikTok, because we stream through a streaming app, doesn't always let us. But we are always on YouTube, so just search for More Than a VA, and we are always on Instagram at 10 o'clock every single Friday. With these kind of conversations, you can just jump in and ask questions, or as I say, you can listen on morethanava.org/podcast, or just Google us, go onto like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, the VA Live Lounge, and you will find us.